pull this web browser or pull this web browser tab right beside your index.html page. So let's test this for now. Let's bring up something called google.com. So yeah, it works fine. You can actually use that to test it, but I would recommend you to use the Mozilla Firefox or the Google Chrome for your testing purposes. Now let's just keep this here and let's open this page. Let's open this page on Mozilla Firefox. Okay, yes, I want to. So if you look into this page, my Firebug extension is already open and it's telling me what are the elements that are included inside this HTML root element. Now this root element, if you remember, is the HTML that defines the document, the document tree for this entire HTML document. Now inside this body section, if you look into this tags, it has ignored, my browser has ignored the commenting part. It has included the white space, but that doesn't necessarily mean it will render or produce these white spaces, that it will produce these white spaces when the rendering phase occurs. Now, how do you understand that? Basically, I have included two anchor tags or two links, one for Facebook and the other for Twitter. Now when I try to I have actually included them one after the other. So the first Facebook link occurs before the Twitter link, but if you look onto the result or the output on the browser, it's actually occurring side by side. So this is a default behavior in our browser. Now the browser will actually separate two of the paragraph tags with a single line, with omitting one single line in between them. But it has completely ignored this comment part that I've included for my readability. So browsers will usually ignore your comments. It will usually ignore white spaces, but Firebug is making it organized for us to. It's making it organized so that we can read it without any sort of problems. We haven't included any elements, so any stylings, or we haven't included any sort of style sheets to style our document. So it is telling us this element has no style rules. You can create a rule for it. So our head section, our title, this is the title for the entire document or this context. This entire document inside this context. So this title has been printed out on your tab. So I've written a test page. This is also showing me a test page. So our document is perfectly working perfectly all right. So let's move on to adding something like a list. So if we want to include a list, suppose we want a list of our our social links. So we don't want our social links to appear right after the right beside the other one. We want it to appear as if it's like a list, and it needs to, the Twitter part, the Twitter link needs to appear after, or on this it needs to appear on a new line after this Facebook link. So let's check whether our links actually work. If you hover over these links, you will actually see that it's telling me on this part it's actually going away. So this part, if you look carefully, when I hover over these links, it will show you the URL of that link. So if I click that, let me check whether it brings up the page. It does. It brings up the resource from the Twitter's server. So what happens if I just click on the Facebook's link? It will print out, or it will send a request to Facebook's server, and it will tell Facebook's server to fetch their homepage, and it will produce that on my browser. So it's working perfectly all right. So another thing to notice in here is that your comments are also ignored on the output, and it's also ignored on your document tree or document object model. So let's get back to our Aptona Studio, and let's create something for our styling. Let's include a style sheet for this page. So let's get back to File, and we want a CSS template. You can choose a CSS template, or you can even choose a blank file. Let me go for a blank file. So this is the part. For this built-in web browser, you can actually include the link for your file, for this index HTML file. So because our file is stored inside this file system, inside my local machine's file system, so I don't need to use that HTTP. I just can copy the link that starts with the file protocol, and let me copy this. Let me bring this over here and click enter. So it actually shows you the result as if you're viewing it on your as if you're viewing it on your third-party browser. So I've brought up a new CSS page. So let's save this first. Let's save this as to local file system, and inside my third directory. Inside this third directory, it's better to include all your CSS files inside its separate folder. So let me show you how to do that. You create another folder inside this directory number 3, and let's call this CSS. So this CSS directory, or this CSS folder, will have all your style sheets in one place. So in that way, you make your code far more organized than including them on your exactly as on your including them outside a folder. So if you do not include this CSS style sheets in their own folder, then your project will get a lot clumsy. It won't hamper your performance in many ways, but it will be hard for you to find your style sheets that might be causing a problem. So let's save this as let me save this as main.css. So this will be the main style sheet for our homepage or this website, and we have created our style sheet. Now it's time to include some styles. So inside this style sheet, you will notice that I've included something called body with an opening curly brace, and this curly brace has a following and a pairing ending curly brace.